Got a big one. Sunday night football. Miami Dolphins taking on the LA Chargers. And yes, I almost said San Diego. What is up, fans? Huge game. Playoff implications. Standings. All these things are in play for the next couple games. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about a lot. Injury, breakdown, 5 things. Give you little stats here and there. Give you guys my prediction of who is going to win this Sunday. I honestly forgot it was Sunday night. I was mentally preparing myself for a 1 o'clock game, but nope. Sunday night, Saturday night, and then Christmas Day. I also didn't know, because I'm dumb, that there's only 3 games on Christmas Day. And the Dolphins are the first one at 1 o'clock. I thought everyone was playing on Christmas Day. Nope, everyone's playing on Saturday. And the Dolphins are one of the 3 that will be playing on Christmas Day, which means we get 3 back-to-back nationally televised TV games. Didn't know that. Big. But before we jump into all that, I have to shout out today's sponsor. And I haven't worked with these guys in a hot minute, but they have such good stuff. I needed to shout them out, and I needed to thank them for sponsoring this video. And that is Backroom Collections. Backroom Collections do absolutely fantastic work. It's a bunch of artwork. I'm popping it up right now. You can see all the good stuff. I've also been retweeting all their stuff. Absolutely fantastic. If you want to go out and grab yourself some, use the promo code DDW. You get yourself 10% off. Now, I'm going to put the link in the description at the very top. So if you go in the description, go check them out. They have a ton of great artwork. Like I said, I popped it up. If you want to get it guaranteed by Christmas, you have to do it by December 12th. But there is a chance on December 16th, if you get your order in, they can get it to you. But December 12th, guarantee you get it on Christmas. Again, use the promo code DDW. You get yourself 10% off. Fantastic artwork. And they don't just do the Miami Dolphins. If you want to gift some, MLB or any of these other NBA, all that stuff, they do it all. They're working on doing coasters, on wooden signs, all this different stuff. Go over, check them out at Backroom Collections. And again, use the promo code DDW and you get yourself 10% off. One last thing of business before we jump into this video. I have to shout out some patrons and some members. On the Patreon side, we have Lighten. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon. If you want to join the Patreon, it is linked below. And on the membership side, we have Joey Holt, John McCurry Jr., Chris Harrison, Chris Gallagher, John Warren, William Albritton, Ryan Paget, Sarah Walker, George Garaji. I apologize if I'm butchering your names. Richard Moore, Damian, Mr. Bonafide 861, Rob A, Fins Up Winsey, and Kiana A. Thank you guys so much for becoming members and patrons. Again, if you want to be a member, hit the join button next to the subscribe button. You get a ton of perks during live streams and all these other things. And if you want to become a patron, it's linked below. Patrons also get a ton of great perks, their own special videos, all that good stuff. But thank you guys for joining. Now let's jump into this Mama Jam. And let's first, like always, talk about injury reports. We're going to start with the Miami Dolphins here. It's big, right? You can't see me. It's fairly big.
That's what she said.
But you look, and it's not that bad, right? You got Tyreek Hill popped up on it, did not participate. He had some type of illness. I don't think he'll be held out for this Sunday's game. He wasn't seen during the portion open to the public, but I think he'll be fine. But if you look, everything got a lot better. Like Melvin Ingram, we always talk about Melvin Ingram, and I always tend to do this when it comes to Melvin Ingram. He gets his day off, right? But you look, Taron Armstead goes from do not participate to limited. Teddy Bridgewater's limited. River Craycraft pops up on a limited after not being on there with a calf injury. Eric Rowe back limited. Durham Smythe limited. Tua Tagovailoa ankle limited. He's going to go. Don't worry your pretty little heads. Justin Zimmer is back. It's limited. Full participant on Jerome Baker. Raekwon Davis goes from limited to full. Myles Gaskin, Robert Jones, Kader Kohu, and Jalen Waddle all limited. I expect us to be at a good health, right? Very good health. And, there's the obvious. What about Byron Jones? I don't know. To me, honestly, it comes down to if Byron's going to play, it's going to be against the Bills. But or maybe the Packers. Maybe the Packers is the game he comes back. I don't know. But if I'm the Dolphins, I want him back for that Bills game. We'll see. And if he doesn't play by the Packers, I don't think he plays this year. And then which means he won't play for the Dolphins anymore because I don't see them keeping him next year. Post June 1st cut, they save $14 million. And I could see that happening, and they can use that $14 million towards a lot of things. But that stuff we'll talk about in the offseason. Stick around for the offseason. Hit the subscribe button. Let's look at the Chargers. You can kind of see me a little bit. You can move it down if you really see. Now I'm back to Wilson from Home Improvement. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to see that, so I'll move it back up. Bryce Callahan went from limited to did not participate. Derwin James is dealing with quadricep injury. He hasn't participated in practice at all. Sebastian Joseph Day, that's a fun name, didn't participate both days. And tackle Trey Pinkins III didn't participate. Then Will Clap Ya Cheeks, his name's just Will Clap, went from full to limited, which is interesting there. DeAndre Carter and Michael Davis, full participant. And then they got some good news in Zion Johnson, Corey Linsley, Kenneth Murray Jr. They went from limited to full, and also with Mike Williams, he went from limited to full. And then Jamari Sal, you know what I'm saying, this was just a full practice. I'm not too worried, right? We'll see how everything happens. I don't hear good things about Derwin James. We'll find out more later today when they come out with the final, and then, we get the game status and all that stuff. Teron Armstead is trying his hardest to play this game, so we'll see if he actually plays. But it does look like he is trending towards playing against Buffalo, which is even more important, and I will talk about that stuff as well. So there is your injury report. Now let's jump to the breakdown. I love doing the breakdown. Looking at these breakdowns, it's very interesting to me. So we're going to start, obviously, Finn's offense, Chargers defense, Chargers offense versus Finn's defense. When it comes to points, the Dolphins on offense are 8th. Chargers defense is 30th. So not too great there. Yards, Dolphins are 4th. Chargers defense is 26th. Dolphins have the edge there. Passing, Dolphins are in 2nd. Chargers are 19th. Rushing, the Dolphins are 28th. Chargers are 29th. I will talk about that in the 5 things. Third down, Dolphins are 21st with 38.7%. That drastically dropped from past Sunday's game where the Dolphins converted 0 for 7 on third downs. Very, very bad. Chargers are 25th, allowing 43.8%, so their defense is worse. Red zone, Dolphins are 6th, converting 62.5% of their red zone trips to touchdowns, whereas the Chargers are 7th, allowing 51.2%. So a little yin and yang there. Dolphins obviously have a huge advantage against their defense. Their defense isn't very good. Again, it's pretty much bottom ranked. They don't have Bosa. They don't have J.C. Jackson. They don't have a lot of things. So the Dolphins have a huge advantage against their defense. You flip it, right? The Chargers offense is 14th in points. The Dolphins defense is 25th in points. Chargers are 13th in yards. The Dolphins are 17th in yards allowed. Actually pretty close there. Passing, the Chargers are 5th. Dolphins are 21st. That's obvious. Rushing, the Chargers are 31st ranked. The Dolphins are 9th ranked. So the Dolphins have a huge advantage. The Chargers are 11th in third down conversions with 42%. Dolphins are 24th, allowing 41.8%. Last week, they allowed 8 of 19 conversions on third down against the 49ers. And when the Chargers get in the red zone, they are 25th ranked, only converting 48.8% of their red zone trips into touchdowns, whereas the Miami Dolphins on defense are 29th, allowing 64.1% of red zone trips into touchdowns. So now let's do what you guys love. We love the new edition. I love talking about the new edition, and that is the PFF breakdown. So let's minimize myself. I'm going to stay over here for today. Stay over here. Look at it. We're going to be looking at the Dolphins offense versus their defense. Their defense banged up. Like I said, bottom tier ranked. Uluk Davis, 65.2. He's a 49th ranked corner. Callahan, who might not play, so they might even be down to 2 corners, 50th ranked. Samuel Jr., 86th ranked. Derwin James might not be out there, so they might be down Derwin James, who's a big hitter on their defense. Khalil Mack is their only real pass rusher that the Dolphins have to focus on. Other than that, their defense is pretty bad and especially versus our offense. You have Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Sherfield, Tua Tagovailoa, even with his bad game last week, is still third ranked in PFF. Tron Armstead, if he plays 13th, William Jones is even getting up there. Shell's numbers are going up. Raheem Mostert is going this offense is pretty dangerous against their defense, which is going to be banged up. And again, the bright spot on their defense is Derwin James and Khalil Mack, and they might be without Derwin James there, and they might be without their second-ranked corner in Callahan. It's going to be very interesting. Let's flip it on its head and look at the defense versus their offense. So this is the Dolphin defense against their offense. Their offense is pretty dangerous. Williams and Allen are pretty good wide receivers. Everett, a good tight end. Palmer, Ezekiel Austin Eckler, obviously Justin Herbert. I'm going to talk about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's not someone you can really poo-poo. Good at center in Lindsley. Made a smart decision. Go out and get him. I really wanted the Dolphins to do the same. Offensive line's kind of banged up, though. Dolphins should take advantage of that. Look at the Dolphins' pass rush, right? Ingram, Wilkins, Phillips, Chubb. Chubb has played the Chargers twice a year, except for last year. He was banged up last year, but he knows what he's going up against, especially with Justin Herbert, so he should know. Look at Cater Kohu. Look at my man Cater Kohu, who's 20th ranked on corner. Xavier Howard, you got a big task because I can expect him to be on Allen all game or William. But if I'm the defensive coordinator, I'm putting Xavier Howard on Allen. I think I might put Cater on Williams. That's an interesting one. Maybe you put because you gotta put Eric Rowe on Everett all game. If not, you're gonna get tortured by him. But to me, it comes with the pass rush. Obviously, our corners are banged up, and they got two really good wide receivers. But, the narrative is Justin Herbert has no one to throw to. Funny how that works, isn't it? Now we will jump into the 5 things the Miami Dolphins have to do or want to do or need to do to beat these Los Angeles Chargers. I'm probably just going to call them the Chargers from now on because I will slip and call them the San Diego Chargers. So from now on, there will be just the Chargers. And the number one thing on my list, and again, they're not from most important to least important, but the list does go from 1 to 5. Number one thing on my list, you got to pressure Justin Herbert. Now, like I said, they're probably getting Mike Williams back, which is a big addition for them. Keenan Allen's really good. Everett is a really good tight end for them. And Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. Regardless of his slump, regardless of how he is doing, he is a very good quarterback, and you don't want to give him time to sit back there and allow to just throw the ball wherever he wants because he will make the throws. We saw last year what he could do when he has a very good offensive line in front of him and he has time to throw the ball. So you need to get pressure on him. You need to sack him. You need to make him feel uncomfortable. He's also very mobile, so you want to keep him in that pocket, get after him, pressure him, and help our corners out so they'll get beat deep, right? Keenan Allen is still a little banged up. Even Mike Williams is a little banged up, so they're not going to be at 100%. So get after him. Pressure him. Make him uncomfortable. Make him make dumb throws. Make him throw the interceptions. Get after Justin Herbert and pressure him. The number 2 thing the Miami Dolphins need to do if they want to beat this Chargers team, and that is stop the run. They're not that good at the run, right? Like I said, 31st ranked, which is surprising. You got Austin Eckler. But yeah, they don't run that well at all, so their offensive line is pretty banged up. Miami Dolphins have a top 10 rush defense. 9th, they held Christian McCaffrey to 60 yards? I'll tell you right now, I actually have it pulled up. They held Christian McCaffrey to 66 yards and Jordan Mason to 51 yards. So, 17 carries for 66 yards for Christian McCaffrey. It's pretty big there. So continue that. Stop them. Hold them to, force them to be one-dimensional. Then you can really get after Justin Herbert. So stop the run. The number 3 thing the Miami Dolphins need to do if they want to beat this Chargers team, we need a bounce back from Tua. The best thing that Tua does is he learns from his mistakes, and he tends to not do it again. he tends to bounce back. He tends to say, okay, I got this, my bad. He really sticks in the books. He really focuses on getting better, and he comes back out better. We need a bounce back game from Tua. There's been games where the past week, passes he should have made, right? A lot of people want to focus on the defense. Defense didn't do this, but they miss it. They miss the they miss the fine print of the game, as I like to call it, right? Second half, the defense held the 49ers offense, right? I think they kicked 3 field goals. Yeah, Doug, but that touchdown came at the last moment where Tua got sacked, and it was just scoop and score. That wasn't on the defense. And some of them, especially the interception, was on short yardage, and the Dolphins defense held him to a field goal. So a lot of people want to look at Purdy and say, oh, the Dolphins defense let them do. Dolphin defense actually did better than some expected. Did they do as good as we needed? Obviously not. But the Dolphin defense did do better. It was the offense that kind of faltered there. 0 for 7 on third down conversions. Tua was off on some of his passes, even though he still in the second half came back 295. He had the 2 touchdowns, kind of bounced back a little bit, but we need the Tua of the past 5 weeks. We need him to bounce back, come out, hit the targets when they're open, brush off whatever was ailing him, whatever was in his head, make the throws. Bounce back Tua. It's the number 3 thing. The number 4 thing the Dolphins need to do if they want to beat this Chargers team, they need to run the ball. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. Run the ball. They ran the ball. I kid you not. This is a stat that they did last week. They ran the ball 8 times. 8 flippin' times against the 49ers. Raheem Mostert had 7 carries for 30 yards, and Jeff Wilson had 1 carry for 3 yards. They ran the ball 8 times. You are facing a defense that is allowing the 2nd most rushing yards in the NFL. They are 29th ranked. You need to run the ball for the love of everything holy on this earth. Mike McDaniel comes in, and he's known as an offensive guru. He's known as the run game guru, and we've seen it. We've seen it with the 49ers. He's very good at. He was their run game coordinator for a bit. I understand our offense is dynamic. I understand we are 2nd in the NFL in passing. I understand we're 4th in the NFL in yards, and a big portion of that is our passing because we're 28th in rush. I understand that our passing is kind of like our running, especially with the receivers who can get open on slants, can get open on outs. But we got to run the ball. I think we've had 200-yard rushers in Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. Jeff Wilson against the Browns, if my memory is correct, and Raheem Mostert against the Jets. Run the ball. This is the team and the defense you want to run the ball on, especially if your pass offense, 21st ranked, I had to find it. I was like, where the flip? 21st ranked is facing their pass offense, which is 5th ranked. You want to limit the amount of times that their offense has a chance to score, be productive, or any of that stuff. That's kind of what happened against the 49ers, right? The thing that we keep hearing is, how do you let the last pick in the draft, whatever. You give them enough opportunities, they're eventually going to get points. They're eventually going to move the ball down the field. Purdy didn't do anything special. He was dinking dunking. He was throwing slants. He was throwing outs. He was throwing screens. He was not doing anything special, but we gave them enough shots. 0 for 7 on third downs. Wasn't running the ball, 3 and outs on offense. We gave them enough opportunities that they were scoring the points they needed to. Right? Purdy had 2 touchdowns. Other than that, and that was in the first half. Other than that, he didn't do anything in the second half. So we allowed it. We allowed it. Can't do that with Justin Herbert, right? Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen gets 1 break on whoever he's covering him. Same thing with Mike Williams. Justin Herbert's going to hit him. He's going to make the move. So you got to run the ball. You got to eat the clock up. You got to control it. Dolphins offense is going to score points. Dolphins offense can score points at will. We saw it against the 49ers. First play, boom, touchdown. Look at the pass to Tyreek Hill. Boom, touchdown. We could score points very easily, very quickly. But at some point, give your defense a break. Run the flipping ball. And the last and final thing the Dolphins need to do if they want to beat this Chargers team, no mistakes. It seems like a staple on my 5 things and on my preview. No mistakes. You saw it against the 49ers. There were some instances. Probably, see, but this is what hurt. This is what kills me, right? I say no mistakes. And then they'll commit a penalty. And then we see the penalty, and we're like, that's not a penalty. Prime example, Raheem Mostert gets a nice run, gets down to what? They're like 10-yard line. Holding. Phantom holding on Robert Hunt comes back, comes back, and then that's when the interception happens where Jeff Wilson falls. So they weren't really making a mistake there. Jeff Wilson made the mistake by falling, but beforehand there was no mistake. The phantom tripping when, Melvin Ingram's cleat got stuck to Trent Williams' cleat. The phantom PI where isn't that Magnum PI? I'm like, isn't that a show? But the phantom PI, some of these mistakes aren't really on the Dolphins. It's more on the refs being hot garbage, but like missing throws, not being in the right situation, not making the tackles. Those mistakes, right? Even on the play calling and being cute and trying to be too aggressive at some points instead of just getting your points, that also coincides with the no mistakes. So those are my 5 things that the Dolphins need to do if they want to beat this Chargers team. Now this is big. We're 8-4 facing a 6-6 team, and the Chargers defense is not good. The Dolphins offense is really good, passing, again, run the ball. And their offense is pretty potent for the most part. Mike Williams is probably going to be back. And then you have, Allen. They're pretty good. And our pass game isn't great, but we have a really good run stopping and hopefully get after the quarterback. Right now, the Miami Dolphins have an 88% chance of making the playoffs. That's right now. And I might do a video kind of breaking down the percentages as the weeks go on of if we win, if we lose. If the Dolphins beat the Chargers, their percentage of making the playoffs goes up to 97%. It skyrockets. And I'm not going to talk about it next week until we get to next week, because there's even more of a percentage with next week, and I'll talk about that because one game at a time. If the Dolphins lose, their percentage of making the playoffs drop drastically, 21 points to 76%. This is a game they have to win. It will help the Dolphins make the playoffs. It will show they can bounce back. It is a huge, pivotal game. Like I said, this road trip really is going to show what the Dolphins can do. San Francisco is hard fought. Honestly, if the offense and if Tua was playing like himself and not kind of off, they would have beat San Fran. I'm 100. Chris Sims even came out and said it in a tweet. Go watch me and Big O's show, where he said that Tua looked unlike himself, and if he looked like his normal self and wide open guys, the scheme was there, the Dolphins would have beat the 49ers 100%. You got to win these next 2 games, right? It's a hard road trip. Got to win the next 2 games, but you definitely need to win this game. Big, pivotal game. You got to get after Justin Herbert, make him uncomfortable. I honestly think the Dolphins are going to win this game. I don't think that the Dolphin defense is going to shut down I almost said it. Shut down the Chargers. They don't play They play a little different on the road, and especially because they haven't been home. They've stayed and practiced at the College Stadium. I don't expect them to shut down the Chargers defense. I do expect them to make some drives where they do force the Chargers offense to 3 and out, or a little bit of a sustainable drive, and then they eventually punt or kick a field goal. But I do not think they will shut down the Chargers. I do think the Dolphins will win this game. I think it'll be a score of 31-17. Like I said, I don't think they will shut down the Chargers. I think the Chargers will score. I think they'll score 2 touchdowns and a field goal, but I think the Dolphins offense is too much for the Chargers defense, which is now also depleted. Might not be with Derwin James. I think the Dolphins win this one. It is huge. And again, if they win, their playoff chances go up from 88%, which is right now, to 97%. Again, I will make a video after the Buffalo Bills game on where our playoff chances are and how we can go in what direction, because the next 2 games, and especially the Buffalo game, are very good at which direction the Dolphins are going when it comes to the playoffs. But that's what I got for you. Be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys Sunday night. Game starts at 8:20. I'll probably jump on around like 8:10, 8:15. Hang out with you guys. I don't know if my father will be there. It is late, and he has work the next day, and he normally has to be up at about 5 o'clock. So I'll let you guys know. Well, you'll see him. If my dad's there, it's because he made it. If not, he's got work early. But I will be there, and I will see you guys Sunday night. Dolphins in LA taking on the Chargers. But other than that, like usual, stay classy and fins up.